Hello, my name is Fiona Stanton from Fee's Papercraft. Today I want to do a video on creating this tag. Now it looks quite a simple tag, and it is quite a simple tag, but what I want to show you is a technique I used on the Stamparatus to stamp out the pumpkin. The reason I did it on the Stamparatus is I want to heat emboss. If you can see it's heat embossed, it's gold. The outline is gold, heat embossed, and I've coloured it in with blends. Now you shouldn't colour in heat embossed images with alcohol pens because it will melt the embossed image, and that's fine. You obviously damage your image, but you can also permanently damage your alcohol pens, which is why you shouldn't use alcohol pens with heat embossing. So what I did instead, and I'll show you what I did. So I got my Stamparatus, and I'll put my stamp on there in a minute. Just turn the plate around and get my card. So I'm going to make sure I remember where I line it up. So I'm going to line this card up. Let me get my magnets. Remember, these magnets are really strong. If you've got a pacemaker, you should be very careful using these. Just check with your doctor first. So I'm lining it up on number 2 and number 12. 2 and 12. So that's what I've got to remember. Put my image down. It doesn't really matter where I put my image. I know where I've got it lined up, 2 and 12. So then I'm going to press down and pick that up. And what I'm going to do is use a light colour. I'm going to use Smoky Slate, that's a very light colour, to stamp the image. Let's do that first of all. Okay. Oop. Great thing about Stamparatus, if it doesn't stamp first time, you can go back in. There we go. Right, so I've got my image stamped. We know it was lined up at number 2 and number 12. So we can put that to one side. We're not going to take the stamp off. Don't touch the stamp. And now I'm just going to very quickly colour that in with my blends. Now blends, the ink pads are water-based, the blends are alcohol-based, so it won't affect it. What I'll do, I'm going to do this very quickly, so it's going to be a bit rough and ready. But I'm sure the little darlings won't mind. I'll try not to breathe too heavily. I have noticed in my videos there's a lot of breathing, and I do apologise. Told you it was going to be rough and ready. I'm not the greatest colour at the best of times, really. Anyway, lines were there to be disregarded as far as I'm concerned. Who needs lines in their life? So if you're based in the UK or France, Austria, the Netherlands and Germany, and you don't have a demonstrator and you would like to get into Stampin' Up, then just drop me an email online and I can help you. Do the other side. Probably see the top of my head there. I do apologise if you do. Hopefully I've got no nits, so it should be okay. But you love watching me colour in. I find colouring very relaxing. I do like it. I'm just not the best. Particularly when I'm under pressure doing a video. I know that you've got plenty of time to watch other things and possibly not want to spend time watching me colour. Now I did the other pumpkin face in grey inside. Then I had a look at the pictures and everybody else was yellow. So yes. So I changed it. There we go. And just blob on some green. See, even with my messy colouring, the blends work quite well. I know it all varies. People say go light, dark, light. I always start with dark and then go into light. And use the light to blend it all out. I find that works fine for me. But I think colouring is one of those things where it's kind of personal thing. Obviously, you're going to do a much better job of this than me. Oh dear, it's a funny pumpkin, isn't it? You see, what I normally do is get my head right close to the paper, take my glasses off, and be practically nose to the paper to colour in, so I can see the lines and see what I'm doing. Obviously here I'm in a bit of a different position, but I just wanted to show you this technique quickly. Right, so I've done that, that's all done. And now this is the most important bit, really. Particularly if you're doing more than one, what you want to do, you want to make sure you've got your die in exactly the right place. Because I'll show you a second benefit to this technique. If you're doing lots of tags or lots of images that need to be stamped and die cut, this may help you. Particularly if they're a bit fiddly. I mean, this one's not too fiddly, so that's fine. Right, get my oh yes, strong magnets. Oh, where's my other plate? Be handy to have two plates, wouldn't it? Oh, there it is. I've hidden it. Hidden it. Right, let's die cut this out, and I'll show you what we do next. So that's our image coloured in and stamped, coloured and die cut in. Remember, we use very light colour. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring our negative back in. So, okay, so we were lined up at 2 and 12. And put our image back in. So this is why it was important to get the die cut image, the die as best possible fit around your stamped image. Right, just a minute. Let me just find what I need to do. Obviously, is just go like that. Okay, so that's in, and then hey presto, we stamp again with the Versamark. Lift up. Okay, now why I was saying it's quite good with this negative is that if you wanted to do, 30 of these, you've die cut it once here, you could then die cut that out from any old scrap. Doesn't matter, you didn't have to line it up, just die cut it out blank, then put your image in there, stamp it, and away you go. Particularly if it didn't need, you didn't want to emboss it, you just wanted to stamp it. You could just die cut 30 off scraps, no bother lining up the die, get them all there, then you just line them in. As long as you've got one done and you know where you're going to put your negative, you're fine. Right, I've just put my fingers around my stamped Versamark image. This is going to make it fun. Right. Bit of scrap paper. Obviously what you won't do is put your fingers all over your image. And let me just heat emboss that and I'll bring it back. Okay, so that's all heat embossed now, and you've not damaged your blend pens, and you've not damaged your image by melting the embossing through the alcohol. So that's another way of doing it. And to finish tag off, I did have a web somewhere, but that's gone. So I just cut these carefully. So things that you won't do when you do this is that you won't put your finger on your image once you've put Versamark on it, because obviously that just destroys it. That's why you've got all that there. That's my sweaty fingerprints. Okay, so then we're just going to layer that up. I've dropped my back now. I'm doing well. Put the bat on, and I've already heat embossed that. And then you can just add some ribbon, and you'll have something like that. What I did do with the bat and the web, I don't know if you can see, is I just added a little bit of the shimmer paint, the new shimmer paint in frosted white, just to kind of highlight it a little. And there you go. That's your Halloween tag. Thank you very much. Bye bye.